Imagine this. You have a day off, there's nothing on your calendar, you have a few dollars in your pocket, and so you decide to do something that's going to bring you great pleasure. Would you A, spend time with family and friends, or B, would you go to the outdoors or someplace you don't normally have time to go and just putter around? Or C, would you go into the office, deal with some irate customers, and try to resolve their issues? When you look at this list, which one is not like the others? You see, it's not really our pleasure to resolve customer issues. Yes, we appreciate it when people resolve our issues, and we know our customers appreciate it, but never use my pleasure. Stop using my pleasure when responding to customers. Never use my pleasure. And here's why. First of all, it's not real. This is not really our idea of pleasure. We would like to go out and spend time with family and friends or go do something fun. So it's not real. Number two, it's plagiarism. The Ritz-Carlton hotel chain is credited with coming up with this idea, my pleasure. And it works for them. It is genuine for them. It is real for them. They want each of their guests to have the time of their life when staying at their property. So for them, it's real, it's genuine. However, it's theirs. Other people are using it. It's becoming almost trite for some companies. So it doesn't belong to us. And number three, we may be missing a significant sales opportunity. We may be missing a significant sales opportunity, and here's why. Instead of saying, my pleasure, what could you say? How about something like, what else? You see, we've just resolved a customer's issue, or we've brought something to the customer that the customer wanted or the customer needed. This is a grand time for upselling. Your customer service people are more likely to upsell than your salespeople are because customers will take the word of a customer service person over the word of a salesperson. We assume the salesperson has a quota or has a commission riding on the sale, but when the customer service person makes the suggestion, the customer is more likely to buy. They see more credibility in the purchase. So instead of saying, my pleasure, ask, what else? Or be even more specific. Give the customer a clue. One of my favorite organizations, one of the companies that I admire most is Chick-fil-A. Their founder, their corporate mission statement, their business model, and the way they treat their customers and their franchisees, it's par excellence. Of course, I also like the chicken sandwich. So when you go into a Chick-fil-A, the one issue that I have with them is they've trained their employees to use the dreaded my pleasure. Now these are entry-level employees. They really don't have enough life experience or business experience to be trained in other areas, but instead of using my pleasure, what if they said instead, what else could I do for you? And then be specific. Typical encounter. The customer comes up to the counter. The person behind the counter hands them the food. The customer says, thank you. The employee has been trained to say, my pleasure. What if instead they said something like, after you've enjoyed your meal, if you still have a little room left, come have one of our milkshakes. We make some of the best milkshakes in the world. Or they could say something like, when you and your party have finished, think about stopping by for an ice cream cone you can take with you on your trip. Now, are you doing something to the customer or doing something for the customer in that scenario? You see, you're doing something for the customer. What if they leave and decide, it sure would have been nice to have something sweet, and the driver says we need gas. They pull into a convenience store and go in and get a packaged dessert. Wouldn't the Chick-fil-A dessert have been better? And this is important. Mix it up. Don't have just one response. Have as many responses as you and your people can think of. As many responses as you and your people can think of. Now this is important. Mix it up. Have as many different ways for your people to respond as possible. Have a contest. Come up with a new way to respond every week and win a prize of some sort. You and I can think of several, but think of how many more your team could think of. McDonald's has come up with 6 words that has made them millions of dollars. The 6 words are, would you like fries with that? Would you like fries with that? But they don't mix it up. I was early for a meeting, which I typically am to allow for traffic, had about a half an hour to kill. So I pulled into McDonald's, went inside, got a cup of coffee, and what did the person behind the counter say? Would you like fries with that? How many times do you have breakfast that consists of coffee and French fries? But they typically worked another shift, and that's where they learned to say, would you like fries with that? We need as many different ways as possible to respond when the customer says, thank you. The Dell Computer Company has their tech support offshore, which just makes business sense these days. And when I call in for tech support, here's what they've taught their techies to say. You're using one of our best computers. That is a fine computer. In other words, they compliment me on my purchase, and then they say it's out of warranty. Would you like to buy a service contract? After they've resolved my issue, they try again. It's out of warranty. Would you like to buy a service contract? They have also taught their techies, if the customer is using an older computer, to say something like, you know, your computer has a little age on it, and companies like Microsoft and Internet Explorer and some of the other browsers are constantly changing their software, and these older computers struggle to keep up with what's changing in the technology. Not you're having trouble keeping up, your computer is having trouble keeping up, and it's an opportunity for them to upsell. When they do that, are they doing something to the customer or for the customer? They're preventing some of these breakdowns in the future by suggestive selling. The single most important function of sales is to teach. The single most important function of management is to teach. The single most important function of leadership is to teach. So maybe the leadership and management team in your organization could teach your customer service people how to teach their customers why it's in the customer's best interest they buy more from you. Teach others.